sometime next week.
Did you tell your friend about that?
All right, it is 6 o'clock. Let's get started with the pledge, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, I'd like to start off tonight with this is the first opportunity that's been presented to this board, at least, to address the subject of to extend my sincere sympathy to the family, friends, and associates of Max Thwaites III, the former director of Essex County Emergency Services, who passed away on September 19th. So I'd like to put a resolution on the floor of condolence to the family and friends and associates of Max Thwaites III, Director of Essex County Emergency Services, and acknowledgement of his dedication to Essex County and to each of its residents through his service. And I will move that and hope we have a unanimous
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much. Not much new on COVID, other than the health department is saying that we are in the fall season now. That is when COVID rates begin to rise, as they have over the past couple of years, so just be aware of that. It is flu season again too. Flu vaccines are available if that's something you do as a regular seasonal event. And also the shingles vaccine is available as well. If you're looking for a sore arm, those are two opportunities. DMV, as everyone should know by now, the Ticonderoga and the North Elba DMV satellite offices are closed. They'll remain closed for the rest of the year and until further notice. The Essex County DMV office is severely shorthanded and do not have enough personnel to man all three locations. So this board will certainly keep everyone notified when we have information. The best source, though, is the Essex County website in the DMV section. They should have updates probably in the near future. Another announcement regarding security assessment. So I've begun making inquiries towards the goal of securing some sort of professional site security assessment service for the community buildings. Recent world and local events have kind of focused our attention on some vulnerabilities here in the building. Of course, the safety of our employees and citizens and the protection of threats is one of our primary concerns. I'll share more information as I get it, but that's something that came up in our, I forget which committee meeting, but so we'll look into that. Last announcement here, I'd like to take this opportunity to acknowledge the dedication and hard work of Ticonderoga's Downtown Revitalization Initiative Committee. This was a pretty Herculean effort involving a lot of heavy lifting, a lot of proactive thinking. Multi-organizational event, you just simply couldn't have been accomplished without the support of the professional organizations like Elan, which was our professional consultant, our local organizations, TAC, TRA, Pride, TMSP, and a couple of young professionals who are on our team who provide some pretty critical and valuable insight that many of us would never have considered. And of course, the success of a project like this also kind of lives and breathes on the involvement of our residents. And we, as a committee, couldn't have been more pleased with the turnout and the inputs from the community. So I thank all of the community for being part of the solution. We have submitted the application package on September 23rd. We supported a walk with a regional representative on October 4th in the downtown area, showing them where the projects that we identified, where they're located, and what we're thinking, so they have a better idea. This is the first time they've done these sidewalks before as part of the DRI process. And we probably won't hear anything back until sometime later this year, and so meanwhile we wait. Tonight we have two presentations, one from Gary Schouten on a zoning issue, another one from Gordon on pivot energy easement issue. Both of these, there's no decision necessary tonight. I want to make sure that you all have the opportunity to ask your questions. If you have any, get some more background information if necessary before we proceed any further on both of these issues, if we do proceed on these issues. Gary, if you want to come up first at the table, so you're closer to the microphone. So a little background here. Gary was referred to us, the town board, by the Planning and Zoning Board regarding his current situation that he has in his own matter.
And you brought us supper.
I didn't know how long it would be.
Well, if you're here a long time, we're all going to be sharing. So regarding this case and others like it, I mean, I just want to ensure that our zoning laws reflect the ability to provide a orderly, responsible pattern of development, especially economic development, across the town without a negative impact. And like I said, there's no decision that's necessary this evening. And we've all identified the necessary step to re-examine and update our comprehensive plan before we actually do anything crazy with any zoning changes. But I did want Gary to kind of state what where he's coming from, so that we can have that information in hand as we go forward in our comprehensive plan, thinking about how zoning has to be reestablished or revised or whatever we believe is more appropriate. So Gary, if you want to go ahead and
Okay,
state your story.
the property in question is 2001 New York State Route 9N, which is right on the corner of the Birnbaum Road, okay? And through the steps that I've been taking, I come to the conclusion and found out at the planning board meeting, the zoning board, that the building was built, I can't tell you the exact year. I want to say it was 33 or 35. I hope there's some history buffs here.
Does everybody know what this is? This is
Yes,
Ernie
I-
Cosby's
I'm
old
trying to
place.
figure out what it is.
Ernie Cosby's old place.
Owen Swinton built that
I was
garage.
gonna say Swinton built.
Yeah. Okay? And then,
I used to live in
this is in the 40s here. Okay? And this is Carl Thatcher and his wife. Okay. So the building was built as a repair shop for automobiles. So it went from Swinton, I believe, to Carl Thatcher. Somewhere along the line, some old timers told me that Horton Strong actually sold cars out of there for a little while. I can't prove that one way or the other, but it really doesn't matter. Then it became Cassi Antiques for some time. I understand that there was a Mr. Whitford in there for a short period of time or a few years doing body work. I don't know if that's true or false, but actually his son told me that, could be, whatever. And then you had Cassi Antiques and then Joan Miller Antiques, okay? Joan Miller sold it to her grandson, Harold Samus Jr. He did not run a business out of there. And he was there for 3 or 4 years, I can't tell you exact. And the reason that I'm told, and I believe it, and no reason not to, that the law states that if it's inactive for 18 months or more, that it reverts back to residential. When I bought the place, to show, number one, I like things nice and I like things neat. When I bought that place, it was a dump. Plain and simple, but that's what it was, okay? It's going on 5 years. I fixed it up the first year that I had it. And I keep it very well maintained, and have since I've been here, because that's just the way that I like things. I would wish to revert it back to commercial, okay? Partly because of my age. I run a mobile repair business, and I traveled from Malone to Greenwich, New York, and a whole bunch of places in between. What I want to do is I have some local contractors that are clients of mine, and they've got equipment, medium-sized trucks and stuff, that will fit in that garage, okay? Now, I have a letter, I don't have it with me, I forgot to bring it, but I do have a picture of the letter. That Bill Ball, when he was here, he felt that it fit the need for me to house my trucks and my inventory and operate my mobile business out of there, okay? Which has worked out great, because I have an office there and everything else. So in the last 5 years, like it was going on 5 years, I can tell you this, that you've never driven by there and seen a mess. I don't think you hardly ever drove by there and saw the grass when it needed to be cut, because I take pride in what's mine, okay? And what I'm trying to do is to stop wearing out service trucks. And I want to slow down. I'm getting closer and closer to Dave Wood's age, and
Watch it.
there, now he's there.
We won't talk secrets about me either.
But, and I'll tell you the name of the people. I have a DeFranco Landscaping, I do a lot of work for it. Belden Properties is another one. Neither one of them has garages, okay? So I own this beautiful building that these trucks will fit in, but I want to make it legal for me to bring them in. Wintertime's coming, and I got a furnace in there, and I got heat and everything, and I just want to put this thing back to where it used to be, and that's all I'm looking to do. I'm not looking to, I really am not looking to run a retail shop. I just want to, I really don't need any more customers, I'll be honest with you. I just want to be able to utilize it to its max in my benefit, to get some kind of return on my investment and a little comfort, and go to work there when I go to work, and not be going up and down the highway all the time. But where I go and what I do isn't that much of a thing here, but putting this back where it was is what I'd really and truly like to do. And in reality, if Harold Samus Jr. had operated a business there, I wouldn't be here.
How long was he out there?
I think he was there 3 or 4 years.
And he didn't do anything?
He turned into a chairman. I should watch my mouth.
So other than that,
That's all I'm looking to do. I'm not looking to hang a big sign. I'm not looking to, one of the first places that you see when you come into town from the Crown Point side. And I've kept it respectable, and I'm gonna keep it respectable. I just want to change the use of the inside of it. I don't want to do anything with the use of the outside.
one thing I've noticed, you don't have any signage or anything out there
No,
to interfere with codes or anything.
no.
So I mean, it's just,
No.
yeah.
I downsized. I've even, I had a big trailer with my name on it that I kept on job sites. It was hardly there, but that's the closest thing to a sign I've ever had there. I haven't broke code. I'm not here because I got caught doing something. I'm here because I want to do what it was originally designed and approved to do, And I got no neighbors. I got nobody there. I'm right down the road from the international, well, it used to be international, Solano's water treatment plant, okay? I've got a gravel pit operating behind me. I've got nobody else around me. And this place started as a repair shop.
Okay. Anybody else have any questions?
No, I'm familiar with it. I know.
Okay.
That's pretty much my presence. All I have is, that's all I'm trying to do. It's pretty cut and dry.
I appreciate you coming in, giving us the,
Well, I appreciate you
Before we-
listening to me.
Stuff I hear,
Yeah.
neat pictures.
there's no lunch in there, so I don't eat here.
Cheap. One of the pictures is missing. Keep it back.
You don't do that?
No,
That's
that's
my,
underneath though.
that's my
That's your what?
uncle.
Thatcher was your uncle? Yeah, you know where I got that from? Carl Thompson. That's where I got that. He came in and was his grandfather.
That was his name? Carl.
Yeah. That's probably where Carl got it. So I asked him, I said, what's the chance your mom or somebody has some pictures? So he come up and two of the pictures. And Kelly Swinton
Yeah.
okay, lives in that, down behind there. And just a week before I went to the zoning board, she gave me that picture. She was up in the attic cleaning something out, found that picture, and she knows me, and she says, I think you might be wanting to have this. And I said, boy, you're gonna give that to me at a better time. So, but anyways, that's all I'm looking to do.
Yeah.
Just, you know, bring my job to my place and carry on, you know.
All right, thanks, Gary.
Thank you.
All right, next we have Gordon Woodcock. He's here from Pivot Energy, and I think he's had some specialists do that. Would you like that? Let me discuss what Pivot is looking for from the board.
Sure.
Welcome.
Thank you. Yeah, so again, my name is Gordon Woodcock. I work with Pivot Energy. Over the last couple of years, we've been working with town staff and planning board on permitting 4 or 5 community solar projects in the town. It's been a very good experience working with the town, and started construction on 2 of those projects. One on Commerce Drive, and the other on Route 9N. Hope to start the 3rd later this year. But of course, I haven't had an opportunity to meet with you all until now. I do want to first thank you for passing or signing the payment in lieu of taxes agreement that gets revenues for the town, county, school district. It's of course critical to us to get the project going.
Technically, I haven't signed it.
Ah,
Resolution tonight.
Okay, well, I shouldn't jump the gun. I mean, we're a critical part of the project, but also it's nice to provide stable revenue for the town, of course. I'm here tonight to request on behalf of National Grid an easement on Commerce Drive, basically expanding, I don't know if you have copies of the easement agreement in front of you or not, but I'm sure you're familiar with Commerce Drive. There's some existing utility infrastructure there already, and they're looking to add 2 poles and then an underground run extending back towards from the north end of the drive to the project site, kind of by where the slaughterhouse was back there. And they looked at it and said this makes the most sense from an electrical infrastructure standpoint, and so we're just looking to work with you on coming to terms on that easement to interconnect the system with the utility.
Any questions? As I said, he and Matt have had some discussions.
Yeah, so under the town law, section 64, the town board can convey real property. It's subject to a permissive referendum, so we would draft a resolution that's subject to a permissive referendum. And also, legally, the town cannot gift its assets away, right? Particularly assets that are, they call it held in the public trust, which, a highway would be. So it, normal course. It's different where, we're doing a project or something and, we have a pump station and for some reason we need electricity, the National Grid needs an easement. That's different because it's a town project. Here it's a private project. And I did talk with him earlier. The town has to have, the buzzwords are adequate consideration. A lot of, as I said, talked to him earlier, a lot of times that comes through an appraisal. But an appraisal is not required by any statute. The prohibition against gifting is actually the constitutional requirement in New York. So, one way or another, the town board and the requester have to come to an agreement on the amount that the town board would accept for consideration. And the town board said they had some other private projects that they had done where they needed easements from, or maybe it was private property owners that they needed easements for private projects that they paid for. So I said, if that's open to the town board, if they had 2 or 3 or 4 examples, and then they made a proposal within that cost range, and it was backed up, I suggested, and county clerks in New York put cover sheets on deeds and easement, a conveyance instrument like a deed, and it says how much was paid for that easement on it. They now report it right on it. Because if you read those easements or deeds, it usually says $1 and other good and valuable consideration. They don't put the price in the instrument, but they do put it on the chart sheet. So if we had some backup that the town board could say, okay, here's what you're proposing, we think it's reasonable, as long as the town board is comfortable that the amount of consideration is reasonable. I couldn't tell you how much it is. I don't know what an easement for a pole proposals worth on highway. I was trying to think from an appraisal standpoint, absent, your comment was a good one, if you guys actually have comparables,
Yeah.
they can make that proposal to the town board.
So, right, we could put together a list of some payments that we made for, in similar situations and see if that's reasonable to you all.
Yeah, yeah, put that together, give it to us, we'll discuss it.
Yeah, so we're probably the November meeting, we would have a resolution, and there is a publication requirement. Time's gonna love this, because anything with a PR, we have to put that notice in the newspaper, so there is it's a couple month process, unfortunately, to make the thing happen. But the sooner they can get that proposal in, the town board, if we can come to an agreement and adopt a resolution and publish that notice, and once the notice expires, then the easement can be assigned. Usually like 21 days, I forget the exact number, but. So that's pretty much the process.
So is the easement with Pivot Energy or with National Grid?
It is with National Grid, it's with the utility, we're just the intermediary.
Yeah,
And it's for one pole?
I have no idea.
2 poles and an underground run, they're kind of spanning from
Oh, yeah, you said.
Route 74, where they have their right of way over to Commerce Drive, and there's some underground facilities there, and then they're tying into the existing facilities and then going from an equipment box on the north end of Commerce Drive underground to the project site. So yeah, it looks like 2 poles. I think it's a 20-foot wide easement, but basically fit within the existing right of way where they have infrastructure already on site.
Yeah, go ahead and get us that information as soon as better.
Okay,
Get moving on the process.
sounds good.
Yeah, thanks for coming by.
Yeah, and I don't know when the best time to bring this up is, but I'm gonna just throw it out now. I've been talking with Dave Burrows before any of this came up, because we have been working in the town for 2 years, and it's just Pivot's customary procedure or business practice is to invest in the towns that we're actively working in, and so we're trying to come up with some ideas for donations, and I think, this easement would be separate from that, but if the town board has any suggestions about donations, either like a scholarship fund for the high school or school kids going into college or trades or whatever it is, or like a donation to the historical society, that's something that we're trying to put together before the end of the year, before this even. But just been trying to work with Dave to get some ideas, so I don't know if there's a way to handle that, or if there's somebody that I could speak with about that separately. Be
Yeah,
interested in doing that.
I think about that. Yeah.
Okay,
We can talk about it.
sounds good.
All right, thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we have one public hearing scheduled for this evening. Local law to override the tax levy limit. I'll open the public hearing now. Just have a few comments before we get started. First of all, I want to let everyone know it's a cautionary measure only. Inflation is 7.17% this year, 3 times higher than the previous year. Despite this, the state has maintained its tax cap rate at 2%. It's caused a lot of challenges for many municipalities, including ours. Costs for services have increased. Increases in fuel, health insurance rates, and more. Right now, our water and our sewer revenues continue to operate at a deficit. We have been balancing this each year using fund balance, and we'll be doing that again this year, but that is not sustainable. This board has taken action to reduce our costs, and we've scrubbed the budget pretty hard this year. The support to our local organizational partners has been frozen at the 2022 levels. All the elected officials have frozen their salaries. I frozen my salary, the supervisor's salary, reduced it $3,000 to boot. I'm also paying back an amount of money to get the salary level to $35,000 a year, which is what I had promised in the election. So I'll be giving money back this year and next year to make that happen. But the board has currently planning to use fund balance to keep us under the tax cap. It's not an insignificant action this year. money that the taxpayers have already provided to the town, so it's only right that we use this to lower the levy. But I just want to say the use of fund balance as a continuous revenue source is not a good budgeting practice. So we will see what next year brings as we go through this cycle again. The town's made a conscious effort to reduce in many departments without cutting any resident services like senior bus, youth programs, and organizational support. So this is all part of an effort to more accurately estimate what our expenditures are in a given year without overtaxing the residents, while still maintaining an adequate fund balance in accordance with the comptroller's office. So, the failure to adopt this law tonight, before we adopt the budget, and then later discovering that we do need to exceed the tax cap would create many difficulties, including setting up a reserve fund. So this, as I said, is just a precautionary measure to make sure if something happens and we do have to exceed it for whatever reason, any surprise between now and the adopted budget, that is set in place. So at this point, I'll invite any members of the public to comment, ask questions. And we don't have much public. You have a question? Oh, come on, think of something. Tanya, do we have to leave this open for any given period of time for public comment?
No, matter of fact, you probably should close it tonight and adopt this today.
No, I meant
Oh.
a certain number of minutes for.
Oh, no, this is not one of those.
Okay.
There are some, but this is not
All
one.
right. If there are no questions, then I will close the public hearing. And do you have a copy of the resolution, Tanya? Do you want me to read it in full or?
I mean, it's short, but you don't have to read it in full.
Okay, the overall gist of this resolution is a resolution adopting a local tax law to override the tax levy limit established in general municipal law, section 3C. And I have a motion.
I'll move it.
Second.
Discussion? None? All in favor?
Aye.
So carried. Okay. Tanya, you and I get together tomorrow about the paperwork. I think we have to submit something to the Secretary of State.
Yeah, I get that.
You got that all taken care of? Okay.
Don't you worry about
Yeah.
it.
I told you.
I knew it. I just want to make sure all the Ts are crossed and all.
I got you covered.
She can do all my other work too if she likes.
No, careful.
Yeah. All right, well, we'll go right into committee reports then. And I'll start with the airport committee report. The committee met on October 4th. Minutes are attached to the agenda. Really, some of the major points of discussion were the status of the new Beacon Tower project. We discussed some options for adding that new obstruction to the FAA database using the online process. I was playing with that a little bit more today. But other than that, I have one resolution, and that is a resolution authorizing the repair of the airport fuel tank leak by Environmental and Fueling Systems LLC in an amount not to exceed $1,590. I can move that. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
So carried. With that, we will move to building grounds, parks and rec.
Okay, Billy's just short.
Yeah, I bet you
Look,
are.
Tanya, you asked me about the furnaces down here.
Huh?
You want to start the furnace?
Yeah,
Ed's got COVID.
I heard.
Yeah.
Well, he's getting over his
We
wife.
have 6 seals we have to put on the burners. You can still use it if you have to.
We turned it on
You
yesterday.
know,
to
I
get
mean,
it chilled
it's
out.
still usable.
And it worked really well.
And it's the same thing at the Armory. We have to
Okay, I was gonna ask you about the armory.
we have to do some maintenance at the Armory, but the furnace can still be run if it has to be.
If it has to be.
As soon as he gets over COVID,
Because
he'll
Fred,
come.
did Fred talk to you about that? He turned it on and something
Yeah.
ceased up.
I went up the other morning and Fred and I went over it, but
Okay.
We got one.
you can
complaint.
use them until he gets over
We
COVID.
got one complaint about the temperature in the armory
Yeah.
today.
Too hot.
Yeah, that was it.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Cold salt.
That's all I got, buildings and ground. We had a few minor repairs, I'm sure you guys don't care about it. They're all done.
I wouldn't say we don't care, it's just.
Well, I mean, it's nothing, no big deal.
Right.
So,
You're up, Joyce.
Well, I'm not up because I wasn't at the meeting, so I
Oh,
understand
you're up.
there was a great deal of
That's right.
discussion about the dog park, and I thought maybe Tanya and Dave could share that conversation, the conversation that took place at the meeting.
That-
I understand there's some issues at the dog park, that it's not being maintained the way it
Right,
should be.
yeah. Well, kind of, you can help me out on this. It was just the same old thing.
Clean
Dogs.
up after your dog.
Yeah, clean up after the dogs and,
I think you discussed signage too. and-
yeah, signage and they were letting them go outside of the park, dog park, right?
Yes.
And they were going down and chasing the geese and,
There's always been people that have kind of championed for the park, and they've stepped up and they've taken care of it. They take the garbage, there's a garbage can that needs to be out by 7 o'clock on Monday mornings. But the people, of course, the people that initiated it 12, 13 years ago are not there anymore. There was a couple that had kind of stepped up to do it, but they don't want to bring their dogs there anymore. And yeah, we talked about what we should do with it, close it down for a while until we figure it out. Nobody's putting, nobody's policing it to see who's picking up after the dogs. They don't have doggy bags in the stations. So there's been some concern there, more discussion needs to be had.
I'm surprised that there hasn't been more problems than there is. I mean, with dogs fighting and biting people and
Yeah, there's only been a
there's
couple
all
of
kinds of
Yeah.
scenarios that can happen up there.
It's always been it's been very well used, but it's been a very well maintained
Oh, it's
park.
been, right, yeah.
But now it's kind of falling to the wayside, and we need to figure out, because it's gonna end up in our laps anyways, like every good deed.
You're saying we're gonna have to hire somewhere, have Grant or somebody maintain it or?
Well, I mean, they do mow
They
it
do mow it.
regardless.
That's what I meant.
But somebody's gonna have to be like regular,
On a
every day or
daily.
every other day,
Yeah.
at least fill up the bag station and put a garbage bag in and then get the garbage up to the side of the road on Monday mornings.
I'll nominate Joyce.
I only have cats.
Was there any kind of agreement with the town when that was built? They just,
No.
you just
No.
agreed to build it?
Yeah.
It was
It was
a
all
massive
volunteer.
group of volunteers, they got everything donated to them, Lowe's gave them all the fencing, they put in all of the fencing,
And Bosworth and some.
and they used to collect bottles to pay for we didn't even supply them with doggy bags, nothing.
But it is on town property,
We,
right?
yes,
So was there any kind of a,
no,
I mean,
no.
Which is kind of a lesson learned for when that tower that we can go on, okay, that's going up on private property. We want to make sure that that group and their
It's gonna maintain.
their successors maintain,
Yeah.
to
I
some
guess it
extent.
is. Of course, dog ownership changes over time, so it's a little different. But I understand there was some discussion about closing it down for a while, and I think maybe as a board, I would welcome input.
But
from residents.
Tanya, we were talking about that after, if you close it down, they're gonna just let the dogs out, outside the park, they're gonna let them. How do you close it down?
We'll have to put a padlock on
Yeah,
it.
yeah, I know, but I meant, people pull in, they're gonna let the dogs.
Well, I think there needs to be a barricade right at the end of the drive,
At the end of, you mentioned that at the meeting, yeah.
so they don't even go in.
Yeah.
They need to know that it's just not.
I noticed there's a sign there, because I drove down just to scope it out a little bit. There's a sign that says river access right about there too. So that's another issue.
So have you had any complaints since that meeting?
I haven't had any calls.
So what do you think about closing it or leaving it open or what?
I think we need to discuss it a little bit more, Parks and Rec, and come up with a plan for it.
So now we can leave it open though, I mean, yeah.
The water's been shut off, this is the time of year when it's not utilized a lot.
There was nobody there when I drove through. I do have to say that I've contacted Chandra Bartlett, and I'm meeting with her
Yeah.
tomorrow, so I need some guidance as to what I'm going to say to her. So I think maybe discussing the fact that it was a volunteer effort, even the supplies were all donated, and just talk about the fact that volunteers are needing to step forward to maintain the dog park, but we would have to consider closing it.
And failure to maintain it, picking up after your animal and
Yeah.
stuff like that, or just one more nail in the coffin why the town should close it,
Yeah,
because we do have to maintain it.
yeah. Grant says, I asked him how he was handling it, and I don't expect him to clean up dog poop.
Oh, no,
He just
no.
mows over it, so that's not
Yeah.
good either, so. It's just, okay, well, I'm meeting with her tomorrow morning,
Yeah.
so we'll.
But I think just what you said, and then we hope that somebody can step up, otherwise we do have to consider that it may be closed.
Okay, yeah, she had to get permission to put the article in too, so
I
that's on
know.
all of her plans.
If we close it, we could put the geese from Tin Pan Alley.
I think they can fly.
I do think maybe we need to put some signs up about dogs running loose in that area, that's maybe something, we could post signs of dogs, so must be on a leash at all times.
Yeah, well, that says that right on the fencing.
But I mean, even that area, the corridor where they apparently have been
You
running,
can put so many signs up.
I know, but at least we're covering
Because they
ourselves.
pay so much attention to all the other
I
signs.
know.
I know.
I mean, it says it right on the signs going in and everything.
Um,
Yeah.
But of course, if they open the door of the car and let the dog run, they don't read the signs anyway, so.
On a related parks topic, Major Rogers' house out there on Tom Street.
Yes,
There are volunteers who are willing to paint it, but they need donated paint. Just putting that out there. There are volunteers who are willing to get it painted.
Has anybody contacted Leslie? She hasn't.
no, but she gave all the money has been sent back
Yeah, I
to,
know.
And one of the
If there's money
volunteers,
available from White Lake, they should pay for it.
I hope I still have her phone number, contact her and ask her if there's any money left and we need to have the building.
Because there's quite a bit left.
Yes,
one of the volunteers called Aldershot, but they're not in a position to donate paint, so
What about Walmart?
check.
But it's not just finishing what's there.
Well, it's repainting. I mean, the inside
No, I
needs
mean, inside, you can't see.
Inside needs to be
you can't
electric.
see.
because the inside needs to be repainted.
Yeah, the
lighter
inside,
color.
yeah.
But they may be able to approach Walmart, 'cause Walmart
Possibly.
usually will really do a lot of things around the
yeah,
community.
maybe they would.
Who's they?
All
Whoever the volunteers.
Oh,
One more thing, I don't know if you noticed in the paper this weekend, but the marine monument is now in place in Crown Point.
Oh, I did not see that.
Oh, yeah.
oh, it is?
Yes,
sure
it
is.
was quite a write-up, it was in the newspaper, so take a look at it.
Where is it?
It must be in that Memorial Park, that's the
In
only
there.
place I can
In
think
that
of.
park?
Unless it's in the big park, I don't know, I'm not sure.
We dodged a bullet there.
So that brings up, what do we do with the cement?
I have a suggestion, I think
Love
it's
to hear
a,
We should,
I
we
think
should put that thing on it.
for now, we have a cement pad, I say let's put a bench there. It's a perfect place, people can
Hold
sit
it
there, facing the other monument, a
Put a
bench.
bench.
Pad there, we might as well put something on it.
What are you gonna put on it?
A bench, a nice bench,
Oh,
wrought iron bench.
Yeah.
So you can look out over the river and talk to your
something, yeah.
Yeah,
Stupid. Dig it up.
well, it's too deep to dig it up, so we'll all have to drive up, but they're having some kind of ceremony, so
Should we
check your
send,
paper.
should we send him a thank you note?
I'm not going there, I'm not going.
Hey, Darren, I'm quickly gonna move on to the next subject, if you don't have any more here. All right. Let's move on to economic development. Committee did not meet in September, because we were all preparing for submission to the DRI effort, but I already mentioned the walking tour that we did, and we're waiting to hear from DRI, basically. We will resume our meeting this month, and our next meeting is October 19th, is when we're meeting next. So, highway and transport station? Highway.
Well, yeah, okay. No, you said transfer station. I don't have anything on transfer station. Okay, we met on the 27th. Corey Finney was at for the public discussion, and as long as he's here, so you don't have to stay to the end of the meeting. If you want to come up, Corey, I'll tell you, well, I talked to Sal before the meeting, and he said the same thing, whatever the town board decided he would go along, but he still said that he wouldn't be able to do it, only the small trucks, and it would be delayed. So, other than that, I mean,
So Tanya did some digging, that wasn't right, went all the way back to 2004.
okay.
Well, actually, Corey and his wife did most of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Didn't find much. We found, I don't think minutes were as detailed back then, but Michael Stippo, the previous owner, provided us a letter dated January 11th, 05 from Wayne Taylor. I think he was the vice chair of the highway committee at that point. But it just kind of outlines what the plan was, or the plan that Michael and his partners were working towards, and nothing too specific. Just that he needed the appropriate approval. There was going to be account specs and so on. I think, some of you are new to it. Some of you are probably already tired of hearing me. It's been a few times. We do feel like we pay our fair share. The subdivision as a whole pays about $30,000 in taxes a year. But more importantly, there's still 3 undeveloped lots. So if you look at the average taxes paid by the current lots, between 6,000 and 7,000, multiply that by 3, assuming the other 3 get developed, that's over $20,000 in additional revenue, which right now I just don't think it's possible that someone would be willing to build. Now, 4 of us did it, but one of which was the original owner. There were some promises that people had made, and I'm not saying necessarily on the board, but it just looked optimistic. I sold one of the lots, and the gentleman is aware that this is up for discussion. I can't say for sure whether he will not develop if it doesn't become a town road, but I think it's certainly is a point that he's looking at.
Have you, as a group of owners, ever looked at what it would cost for a season to chip in and get the road plowed privately?
We haven't gotten that far. I'm relatively new the last 18 months. A couple new, actually 3 of the 4 of us are very new, so I haven't met the folks at the bottom.
How long would it take to plow up a road like that from a private?
But that's one's up and one's back.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you've plowed, you got Mike's truck, right?
No.
No, you don't have it
He
anymore?
left it, but it wasn't in good shape, so.
Oh. But I mean, to plow it.
Yeah, we can
I mean,
get a
up and back,
vehicle.
one
It's just tough when you have
one
3
pass
kids
would open
and-
up the road
Okay.
for emergency vehicles. It's fun. But see, I went through the same thing, Corey, with Heather Heights when I did that, and I took care of it for years until they only took it over. But
It would certainly get done quicker than
yeah.
the town had to do it.
Oh, absolutely. And I'm thinking, from my perspective, is emergency vehicles.
Yeah.
If Sal didn't get there, and you had a real major bad snowstorm, and one of your kids needed an ambulance or a fire happened, that would be a liability on the town.
I mean, I will say, and everyone else will chip in however you feel, is that if the town were to take over the road, what does that mean for every other private road that might be around the town? And how they're
I'm gonna put my hand up.
Yeah, I'm
I'm
sure
gonna
you
put mine
will.
up too for
Put your hand
the
back
long
down.
drive too.
You're the Tom Cunningham, right?
Yes,
So you have waterfront property, right?
I do.
So I mean, that thing could be paved in horse manure and people would be lining up to buy it. Well, this is an old gravel pit that was useless.
It's not the point.
It is a point.
No, it's not. The point is
It's
that
definitely
you
a fair point.
set a precedent, and
We're
the
we're
more,
year-round owners, business owners, people
So are
contributing to the community. How about the rest of your street? I mean, probably mostly some folks who plowing is irrelevant because they're not up here.
Who plows it now, Corey, like last year?
We all chipped in. We have the Marina truck, but
Yeah,
they do, I mean, we don't have it.
right.
People will stop by, again, delayed, so it's gonna be the same issue. Paul Charbonneau has chipped in with the tractor. He's retired, he's actually had, I don't know, it was a double knee replacement, so he's physically, I think, I don't know if he'll be able to do it much longer, and Phil Pearl down at the bottom has done a little bit, but.
Just for my clarity, 2005, why didn't they finish the step? Well, they made the development, why didn't they finish it for the road to be accepted to the town. Why wasn't it accepted?
Other people can probably provide, I've heard
I can.
sort of conflicting,
I-
sort of things got pushed off.
I did it, Tom. Mike Steppo got the specs, the Donovan specs from the state to put that road in as for, we had to blast and stuff, and we put power up the side. Now, the road itself has got culverts for drainage and stuff that came up, you know, when it comes down, the culverts drain across and down. But the only problem that we had, that in the end result was the means of egress onto the state highway.
What did the
You
state?
know, the
what
line
did
of
the state
sight.
want?
Yeah.
The line of sight, when you came on to the highway, you looked, you know, that was the problem, yeah.
Is there anything you can?
But when I did it, that, because I put a big decorative rock up there, and he was gonna put a sign on, and they told us to move it, because it was blocking. I mean, that's irrelevant here, but.
The line of sight of itself.
Right.
Well, here's where I'm coming from. If the town of Ticonderoga is gonna accept your road, it's gotta be at least state specs, or we're putting a liability on the taxpayers to that road.
Sure.
You make the road where it's accessible, or the state says it's approved, and they approve it, we'll consider it.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know what else to tell you.
But
Yeah.
we can't guarantee that.
No,
We consider it, but not
we'll
guarantee.
consider it.
Again,
That's where I'm
Mike,
sort of in a catch-22.
Well-
I don't want to dump,
no, I get it.
you know what I mean?
I
Because I want to find a solution. I don't want to get into here, I know who, well, I think Michael's okay, his partner, I won't name names.
Yeah.
Piece of work. I wouldn't be surprised if he cut corners. Piece of work is
I
pretty.
know all about it.
So I know, I'm not saying anyone here or the previous board members are bad people. I guarantee they cut corners. I'm just trying to find a solution. I'm willing to put money up front and with the other,
See,
as a gift of one
Pete
time,
didn't get-
I don't know if that's
Pete didn't
possible.
get involved in it until after,
Well, that's probably a good thing.
but, which is a good thing.
Strike that from the.
I realize there's more than just plowing involved. If you tend to take some of
It's
the road,
maintaining the road,
maintain-
too.
maintenance.
Well, if we take the road over, we take over.
It's our road.
We're
We
complete
fix it.
responsibility.
If it needs
And if the
blast
state
out.
won't approve it now because of line of sight, they're gonna tell the town back on the road to fix that. That means the taxpayer of this town has to pay for your driveway.
Right.
That's not gonna fly.
Right.
You know,
Understood.
that's simple.
I guess I'm not convinced that
Man, I'm
others.
That's
Oh,
right.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I can give you insight. And I don't want any appearance. From my standpoint, I don't care if the town takes the road or not. That's a policy decision. I can tell you, in the 20-plus years I've been in the town, this road has come up multiple times. When you go to do a development, right, and I represent private developers, at the very outset of every project, you're either going to dedicate a road, your water, sewer, you're either going to dedicate infrastructure, or you're not. Now, generally, if you're not going to dedicate it, one of two things happens. Either the road is tied to one of the lots, and that lot is perpetually responsible for the maintenance, right? Because what you don't want is, from a planning board standpoint, you don't want a road that ends up on a tax sale, and therefore just becomes a government road by default. Because the reality is, the developer isn't out of pocket as much money for a private road as they would be for a public road. And again, water, sewer, things like that, like where you are, dirt road, clearly not as much money from a development standpoint as paved road to town standards. So in this instance, what happens is, again, on the private side, either it gets tied to a lot or a homeowners association is formed. You have homeowners associations, we have them all over, where they may maintain lighting, they may maintain sewer, they may maintain water, they may maintain the road, they may do all that stuff. They might have common property, they could have a little park or something, there's all sorts of things of how you end up with these. But in this instance, the difficulty I think that the owners have is the developer built a development that was always intended to have a private road. Now people have come along and bought houses that don't want a private road. That's the struggle. And that is, honestly, you're not alone in this. This is happening in other municipalities, and I've seen it before, where newer owners come along, they don't want to deal with a private road. That's the struggle, and that's why, from a policy standpoint, many municipalities don't allow it anymore. They don't allow you to build a subdivision that has a private road for just this reason. Because they know 20 years later, somebody's going to show up and say, we don't want to maintain this road anymore, you maintain it. And the developer has made the money, has not had to build a road to town spec, and sold the lots and the properties and pocketed that money. That's the debate you find yourselves in, and then the town board's response, and this is again, not just here. Town board's response is, you guys go out of pocket then, and you bring it up to town spec, and then we'll take it. It's a struggle, and and, you know, comparing, lots there to lots on the lake, it's not your argument. It's just not the argument. There's no benefit taxpayer-wise of real property taxes. You can't compare that because it's not the real property tax that is impacted, it's the highway tax. Your real property tax gets paid regardless of where your property is, on a private road or a public road, you pay that real property tax. The highway is the difference. They're not paying. They're paying the highway tax for the use of public highways, not their private highway. So it's a difficult spot in town. Like I said, it's come up multiple times. Town board hasn't done it in the past for all those reasons, and those are what I just gave you, are all the discussions I've sat in on for many, many years. It's just not an easy scenario. And I get the owner's standpoint, it's very, very difficult. That's the history of that.
It's interesting.
So I have two questions, because I haven't talked to the state, I'm getting that from Michael and just other folks. If I can work on it and come back, and like you pointed out, that doesn't necessarily mean anything from your standpoint, but at least if we can solve it,
If you
on
could
that,
call,
we at least have additional clarity to base a decision on.
if you could call Mike and see if he had the specs for that road, for the state specs. I don't have them because he gave them to me.
Okay.
Do you have them?
I don't have, not with me, I'll have to look.
Like, you could get somebody to come in and do core samples, because part of that's on ledge, some of it's, because we use a vibratory roller, where you got ledge here, and then 2 foot of fill here, and it has not settled. I mean, it's not any, so I mean, I'm just
Did you
giving
put it
you
into
the
the
background.
05
But
or not?
you could do core samples and find out if it is up to specs.
Okay. Yeah,
If Mike had them, or you could get somebody to do it.
maybe I'll just do it myself.
I don't want to mislead anyone to thinking that if other actions are done, we would consider it if we were not going to consider it.
Right, yeah.
Yes.
That's also, yeah.
But if that is one of the factors, you need to address it.
Right.
I don't think it's fair to talk about what you're paying taxes either. What does that have to do with it?
What we pay?
Yeah, I don't think that should
Some of it goes-
factor into it. I really don't. So,
We expect some services that other than.
But you are getting the services that the municipality provides.
Right, we're just missing that last bit.
Well,
We're paying toward it.
you're not really missing it because it's not a town road. So you're not really missing that aspect of the taxes that you're paying, because you're not paying the taxes for that road. It's not a town road.
But I'm saying, I can see his point, he's paying taxes.
I can too.
He's not getting lighting, he's not getting any of the other services that we get here in the municipality.
And again, it's sort of hearsay, but it just, from Michael's point of view, again, I take it with a grain of salt, but it was, every time he approached it and tried to get it finally taken over with the town, there were, budget issues, he mentioned the Great Recession. Just every time just seemed like not a good time. Again, is that total crap? I don't know.
Yeah, he's giving you a line. That was never the issue. The issue was always, there was a private road not built in the town spec,
I would believe
and that
Okay.
you've got that line, no doubt.
Okay, that's fair.
You can,
So should I proceed with the state or no? Like you pointed out, I don't want to go down
Well, it would seem like the state might have a record, because if they rejected it once, you ought to be able to get that. Find out where where the deficiencies are.
I think, Tom, was like I said, on
I think you're right.
the line of sight, but it was just at the end.
It should be in that report.
The road itself, I don't think came into play.
No, I think.
It was just the egress and ingress of the.
I know in Bolton Landing, I worked for a contractor when I first retired. We went over and looked at a site in Bolton Landing, and one of the things that the zoning board had in Bolton Landing was if their fire truck could not get in and make the
Absolutely.
circle.
Yeah.
I've done those projects in Bolton.
Yeah. And it wouldn't make it, and the contract, or the developer said, well, don't worry about that, I'll take care of the town board. That's when I told the contractor I work for, this is not a job we want, because he's not gonna cover your butt.
You're all point. Having said it, I've heard a lot of things over the years. I've heard the part of it was sitting on bedrock, that was somebody's concern. Part of it was an incline at some point.
That's just-
I drove up, boy, probably 15 years ago, I think we actually drove up in there for something. So the line of sight, I don't know was the sole issue, but you have to go think back in the past minutes, I don't remember if it was a meeting or just highway that it came up at. But
See, a lot of it, we have to have, the percent of grade, you have to have a switchback. I mean, you can't come down
Right,
20%, 30% grade without having a.
which you can on a private road.
Right, but I mean.
I think I did it
but,
right.
We put a switchback in there, so that if they come down through there, they're gonna end up on the main road, they're gonna end up in the woods.
and then you have the circle.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So, I do remember that one, so I mean,
Right.
we didn't go straight up,
right.
we came down and did a,
I think the big things may have been done, but then, like I said, did they cut and other aspects? You mentioned something about, so that the property or the parcel that the road sits on isn't currently attached to one of our lots? It's in Michael's name still. What if he just stopped paying taxes?
On the whole parcel,
Just the one parcel? It's one-
yeah, it'll just sit there as a parcel. The county doesn't have to take a property for taxes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I don't really want to have to talk about this for the next several years.
Yeah, it's come up, I mean, since I've been on the board for 3 years, it seems it's come up every year, over and over again, and it's been voted on in the past and voted down.
Do we have a record that's actually?
There is minuted in some,
There's not an actual resolution that was ever passed.
not a resolution, it was at the highway department, it was voted from the highway department not to bring it to the town board.
Yes.
That was what was voted on. It was not voted on as a resolution by the town board, but the highway department decided not to bring it to the town board at that time.
Highway committee.
Highway committee, sorry. So that's why it never came to town board, because we just never pursued it any further. And for all the reasons that Matt's brought up and everybody else has brought up, you know, the town gets tax revenues from lots of private roads and lots of properties located on private roads. And you know, my concern is that you make an exception for one, and one, you're taking on liability. You gotta maintain the road, whatever it is, you gotta pave it over a period of time. That's adding taxpayers' burden that aren't on that road to take over a road that was always private. I understand the situation, I'm on a long road, the same thing. You know, we get together and we pay to have it plowed, and everybody pitches in their fair share, and we go about our business. Maintain it and all that kind of stuff.
not to interrupt you, but how long is that road? Your road?
I don't know,
Is it comparable to his?
I don't know, how long's yours?
Maybe what do you think, a third of a mile?
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
I mean,
it's all that.
asking dollar-wise, what did it cost you guys to?
I can tell you, my share is $150 a year. Last year, of course, it changes depending on the number of plows and all that kind of stuff, right? But
I just wanted to get
think
him
there's-
an idea of
I
what,
think there's 6 people on our road that pay, so
$1,000?
times $150, yeah, $900. So $900,000 a year to have it done, and then of course it's a dirt road, so, you know, every so many years we bring in some fill and have it graded down and rolled over and that kind of stuff, right? And it's a private road and it stays that way.
How many properties, Corey, is out there now?
4 developed, 3,
Town's got 6.
6.
yeah, so. I guess-
Well, one thing that kind of bothers me is you as homeowners haven't even looked into what it would cost on an annual basis per share to maintain the road yourself. Yet you're coming to the town and asking us to take over the road. I would have thought that at least you would have done that homework.
I wasn't sure exactly how close we were to the goal line or how far we were, so that's what I'm trying to assess.
I get it, but
Like, most of this conversation has been before I was here, so you have to
Right.
understand where I'm coming from.
yeah,
So
no, I
I'm just trying, and the initial phone, you know, it's a lot of it's phone tag. Not that I don't trust anyone, but it's 17 years ago when it first started.
I
So,
mean, my concern is what liability the town picks up
Sure.
for having that road.
Yeah, I mean, the next thing you know, you gotta have it repaved, and then that could lead to, I don't know, who knows? And then they're gonna want lighting on it because it's down road, down, I just don't see any benefit to the
And
town.
Tom is correct, it does set a precedent with other similar areas. You know, you do it for one, you do it for all.
Yeah.
And this is why I say I just don't want to mislead him, thinking the more homework he does, we're gonna change our mind. I would like to have, at some point soon, a resolution that says either we're gonna allow this or not gonna allow this, so it's finally in the book somewhere. And we don't have to revisit this, or our predecessors don't have to revisit this in the next 10 years.
Do that at any time.
I think it's leaning towards no.
All right. Well,
If that's
I
what,
mean, that's what I'm getting from the board here.
if that's what we're gonna do, I'd like,
And, you know, like I said, there's no sense in having to come back here every month and doing stuff.
then I'd rather have a resolution that puts it on the floor, either to put it on the floor as a proposal and vote it accordingly, or I don't know how best to word the resolution.
Can that be done now?
Yeah, we're all here. I'm not quite sure the best way to phrase the resolution. Would we just put the proposal on the floor and vote on it, or do we just put the proposal on the floor not to accept gravel road as a resolution?
If that's what you want to do,
We just
yeah,
decide.
I understand the difficulty you're having, because there's nothing actually proposed. in front of you.
Exactly, there's nothing that's been proposed.
So you'd be voting on a negative.
Yeah, there's no sense in proposing it and then voting it down.
Right. And future town board can always.
Yeah, absolutely, you can change it all.
So yeah, if you did want a resolution, you could have one to, I guess, close the discussion and not
Except.
accept the
Not accept,
dedication.
yeah. Yeah, I think that's the cleanest way.
You could do that. It is not a scenario, I get that, again,
Yeah. it's-
not pro or counter.
No,
So we've
okay,
been very
I'm-
difficult.
I'm just looking for language that
Some
makes
finality.
sense.
To determine it is not in the town's best interest to
Okay.
take Gravel Hill Lane.
Road.
I like that.
Road.
To determine that it is not in the best interest of the town to take over Gravel Hill Road. At this
it's
time,
lane.
or it is Lane, I
I
thought it
don't know
was
if that'll affect it, but it is lane.
Is it lane?
It's
That's
a
what I
lane.
put on all my,
Oh,
all my.
I think
board
it's
so-
lane,
Yeah, I could be wrong.
So when you're done writing it, you can reread it.
All right, well, thanks everyone for your time, I appreciate it.
Sorry, sorry.
Thanks, Tony, for the help
Yeah.
yesterday.
So yeah, it's, whoever wants to resolve the second to determine that it is not in the best interest for the town to take over Gravel Hill Lane.
All right, need a motion?
I'll move it.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
So great. Right, awful is unfortunate, but I think it's best for the town. Municipal facility, Tom, you're up.
No, wait a minute.
I'm sorry.
I'm not done yet.
That's more to talk about.
Pay attention, you got your gavel.
Hey.
We're getting off easy, Dave.
Okay. Sidewalks, we're doing Wicker Street from Dowbacks till Napa. The fill driveways and on George Avenue. There's a part of the east side of Champlain Avenue that can be done. Mark suggested this, I've done before, and it was get too cold. Joyce, we can ask them to see if we can make it handicap accessible where the crosswalk is in front of Rathmans. We did that today.
You did?
No, we're gonna take it out, we're over to mark it. And we're gonna put
You marked it?
we're gonna put an ADA in there.
You have to take that section
We'll
out,
take
put
that
an
section
ADA
out, put
section
an
in.
ADA in
Oh,
there.
that's good.
Sal and I are gonna mark them all this afternoon.
Good.
So,
Crosswalk, so everybody's-
Somebody asked what does Rio have left on the portage. I'm hoping that they strike the road, which they've done. And Mark and Sal and I went over, met with Rio and discussed all the problems and stuff. And
I would like someone to look at the asphalt that has been thrown on the side of the road, though. It was kind of sloppy on the sidewalk.
that's on Lake George.
Yeah.
I think we've done
It looks like it hit on top of the sidewalk. It doesn't look very neat.
St. Clair and Grove Street, we already been over that. Do you want to continue on that one?
No,
Where we are? And I asked, Tanya said that she's getting somebody to clean up the campsite on Lord Howe. I don't know if that's been done or
Yeah,
not.
I don't know if it has.
Yeah.
He hasn't brought in his bill, so I would assume no, but I'll check it out.
Didn't Mo give you a price? No.
Yeah, he said he was gonna do it.
Is he the only one? Oh, okay.
Well, he's actually who we hired to do the cleanup of the
Right,
units and
yeah.
properties. He did give us a quote, and he was the only one. the
Somebody
other
said
two
they're still up there, off and on.
They are still.
Yeah. So,
Mhm.
okay, anyways, there was no resolutions, no outstanding items discussed. The meeting was adjourned at 9:45.
Can I get, when you're having a free moment, can I get a list of how many feet have been done in each of those sidewalk sections?
Yeah.
Just so I have.
They can do 160 feet with 10 yards, and it comes up to $9,000.
I'm just curious how many feet were done, you know, from Algonquin to Father Joe's and in the high school area and Woodard
Okay.
Street. I just want to have it down for
Total footage?
records. Yeah, total number of,
Total footage in dollars.
total number of linear feet
That's-
per section.
Well, you need square feet because some of the sidewalks are 4 foot, some are 5 foot.
Yeah, but I'm just, you can, yeah, that's fine. I'm just looking to see how long each section was being done. If you want to give it to me in square foot, as long as I know linear how long it is. it's fine.
Because Sal and I checked today, and that sidewalk on my comments like almost 7 feet wide.
Yeah, those are
Yeah.
You know, so, I mean, that,
And he mentioned that to me today. He said that I think he had to do 100 feet for the art gallery to.
right, it's
Foster.
exactly, it's 94 feet.
I told him that's more than two sections, so that is not
Yeah.
a repair by highway. That's a
And then,
moving in place.
there's 2 of them to be marked, so.
I told him
But
that.
see, that section there is gonna be a problem, because you're gonna have to have the access to the businesses.
It's okay. That's
No,
doable. It sounds like you
no,
can do
but
it.
I mean, it's doable.
Either we get complaints
I
because they
know
can't
it's
get in their
doable, but I
business.
mean, you gotta have, you know,
Yeah.
3/4 inch plywood
Yeah.
and some bracing, and, I mean, you don't just walk in there and say, jump
No,
the sidewalk.
I get that, but if we're gonna have sidewalks, it's gonna be a little inconvenient for.
Yeah.
They work pretty fast though.
Yeah.
They seem to have a good system.
But
going.
because of the problem of getting concrete, Sal and I were talking today, maybe doing 50 feet and then 50 feet.
Whatever
You know,
works.
you know, just, no, but you can't get concrete, so if we're gonna do it, we're gonna do it in one shot.
Go ahead.
Well, that's what we're gonna do.
Yeah.
Yeah, we decided we're gonna do the whole 100 feet and let them suffer.
Well, they complain about that, or they'll complain if they don't
Yeah.
have a sidewalk. One or the other.
So, and then we're gonna go across and take out by Rathmans and put the ADAs in.
Okay. All right, that sounds good. Yeah, it's important to get some of that repaired down
Yeah,
Yes.
the street. Very good.
okay, now I'm done. Now you can go.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Well, I have one quick question about highway, because I sent an email out a while ago, and I thought my cop was checking on it, about the no parking signs from Algonquin up to Father Joe's. And when I pulled out tonight, 2 cars were parked right there in front of his apartment.
And park the wrong way.
That should be done tomorrow.
Oh, it is? Okay.
No, I mean, I don't mean it's gonna be, I mean, you're right. That
That's
is a
dangerous.
bad situation.
When we had the striping meeting,
Well,
we did tell them that the sign on the east side need to be moved up to Reel's driveway. And they did mark,
They did mark.
they marked
that
all the
side.
way down. Originally, they weren't gonna mark all the way down. I told them mark all the way down.
Mhm.
And then we discussed the other side, the west side,
Yeah.
and we said that probably we would want to discuss that and have on probably highway market. And,
but that is bad. They just park there just like it's nothing.
They feel entitled.
Tonight, I come down to, I just stop and like, we have to stop and let people go by.
Yeah,
The-
and school buses.
Yeah.
and-
So now that we brought that up, there was 4 other spots at the high school where that little girl got hit.
Yes,
You know,
I
I
got
was
it
gonna
on my
go,
phone.
and Matt told me we had to wait and
Amherst and Caucus.
Joyce brought up some, where'd you bring up? There was 4 places that we decided it needed no parking place. No.
Well, they should be on the top part of Elgon, Amherst has it.
Oh, here was
in
one of them,
Hawkins.
wasn't it?
I'm trying to follow you.
Up at the high school, 75 Lake George Avenue, the little girl stepped out. There's,
Oh, it's 7 AM to 3 PM.
I don't remember.
she stepped out, got in
Oh,
her
the sign
car.
says
And
7
then came to
AM.
the meeting and wanted
It's
to
not adequate.
block that parking space off. Was you here, Dick?
Was that recently?
Was that?
You were here for that. Mrs. Putnam?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Really?
Yes, you're
But
right.
that was at a committee meeting,
Right, at a committee meeting, I
Yeah.
meant, yeah.
public safety wasn't.
So I was gonna go up and put something up, and Matt happened to be in the back, and he said, don't do that till you make a,
Revolution?
yeah.
We had.
So we combined,
We didn't have a parking ordinance. How do you enforce your no parking right now?
where's Joyce, where was the other?
Corner of
That's not
Amherst and
what you
Caucus.
want.
There was 4 places
We have all these.
that we had, that we were going.
Well, it has to be both sides of Amherst, at the top, going emptying in Hawkins.
Oh, right up by your lot.
And then I discovered, I went up there the other day, and what I saw it, Dave, I saw it in action. The school bus was coming on the street at dismissal time. She could not make it around the corner because there were 2 cars parked on Hawkins where it says no parking until after 3.
So I guess, can we do all 4 of these tonight?
No, we have the public hearing on the ordinance.
Oh, you don't? So it's a new something.
Well, we just have to take.
Until we have the public hearing.
We were just talking, we've got like so many parking ordinances out there.
There's
We
like
probably
5 or
need to
6
consolidate.
different separate parking ordinances that need to all be put into one.
Yeah, probably a good idea.
Add it to big list.
Well, all of them are a safety factor, right?
Oh, yeah, I mean, Convoy did it for a reason.
Yeah, I mean, it's because of
Let's
line
try
of
to
sight,
it.
people get hit.
Well, and it goes along with our winter ordinance that there's no parking, on the street from
Right.
1 to
So-
whatever it is.
Do we need to make a resolution to have a public hearing on that?
Well, that's your first step. You need to compile your documents and,
So can we do that?
We can,
Yeah.
they'll give us what, 6 next month?
I don't know if we have enough time to get that together for next month. I
Well, we gotta start somewhere.
So the first step is you gotta give us some sort of a description, right? So if it's like 300 feet from this intersection to here,
Yeah.
we have to have a description of start and stop of these zones. That's always the first part, and it's a bunch of work, but that's always the first thing that I get to draft these ordinances is some basis, because the PD, if it ever ends up in court, somebody has a ticket, there has to be a basis to show where no parking zone is. And it can't just be this sign to this sign, it's gotta have some monument that can be confirmed, I guess, is for lack of a
X
better
number of feet from this point.
Yeah. Yeah.
So why don't we take the time period between now and the next meeting to get the exact language down, distances, locations from here to here
I'll
for the
compile it.
resolution, so that we can put a resolution to have
I
a
said,
public
last
hearing.
time we did, I sent them all to you, so I was.
Okay, I got Amherst and Lake George.
We'll get together after and we'll
All right.
hash it out at the next one.
Can I ask Matt a question though? There's signage on Hawkins that says no parking between 7 o'clock and 3 o'clock. And that's the problem where the buses are having trouble navigating the corner. And unfortunately, the buses are still coming around the corner at 3 o'clock. And so those people probably think they're perfectly within their rights to be sitting there. So can we just change the signage to say 7 to 3:30?
Well, no, it's part of an ordinance, you can't just.
You have
Can't
to,
just change it?
you still have to do that.
So that it's going to have to go through the same process?
Yes.
Okay.
Why don't you get a magic marker?
I was just thinking about that in the dark of night.
And I'm not sure that we put those up, I don't think it may be the school.
How could they put signage on?
Anybody can do it.
How can they put signage
I
on
don't
the
know,
road if it's?
Not to be sarcastic.
I've seen another case, somebody put up
There's
a
a one-way
sign.
sign on the building down there that goes in behind them.
The highway
To the park.
superintendent did that one.
No,
What's the
it's
time
not a highway
that
sign.
surprised me? Oh, time differences.
Well, I'll compile all the ones that are on the books right now,
Okay.
and you guys need to compile compile what it is you're proposing in dimensions, and just like we did for Father Joe's, where you had to do so many feet from the corner down.
We have got 12, 15, 2013,
Yeah, there's,
2007, 11.
yeah, it's kind of ridiculous how many we
But
actually.
just right out here is a bad deal, when you pull out of here, and then people on the stoop.
Yes, it's very bad, and that's why we passed that, when we're walking up to Real driveway.
You guys tell us what you want to do, and Tom and I will put together and get it.
You mean you want us to give you footage?
You tell me where they're gonna be, times and everything, and
We'll describe the area.
If you wanna change times, just put a list together,
Okay.
all the things we want to accomplish. What we're probably gonna do is clean this up once and for all, put it in local law.
That's a good
And
idea.
have one,
You can do things, town board can generally do certain things by ordinance, but if you can do them by ordinance, you can also do them by local law. Local law's got a little more teeth. It's a little bit harder to modify because you gotta file it with the state. But local law and an ordinance post that have to have public hearing. So, local law just has a little more teeth. And we'll set the fines.
there was a time that the board just did ordinances, they just didn't
Exactly.
want to do local law, so, yeah. If we can clean that up, that would help me out too, it's something I
Let's do
wanted to do for a while.
Can't do it for November.
No.
Sounds like it'd help the police department out too, if they had some of that stuff listed out in detail.
Gives them something to look forward
Yeah, right, you might have to review it, public safety. Get it put
Yeah.
together,
Yeah.
and you guys,
It's good.
while you're doing it, is there anything else we wanna do?
to. That's a good idea.
The school.
And if it's on state highway, it's a different requirement, because then we need DOT approval. We just can't go unilaterally reduce it.
You go.
I'm surprised there hasn't been more problems in the school area. Cause I come down through there, I'm sure every one of us has. I don't know what the speed limit is up through there, but
It's 20 miles an hour.
But they-
Posted as 20 miles an hour.
20.
My school's in
I
session.
have seen some cars going a lot more than 20.
So bad. All right, are we done with this?
And the kids on scooters go
Yeah.
faster.
Are we sure?
Yeah, you're good.
You know, when they're putting the signs up for the other side of the road, I don't know, like, on the other
Motorized,
side.
motorized scooters.
All right, we will move on, this time safely, to municipal facility evaluation.
Okay, so we met September 7th. The minutes are posted, so I won't go over them in detail, but just a couple of the highlights. AES has completed their site evaluations that they were working on for the 4 different locations that were proposed. They have confirmed that of the 4 sites, that the highway department is presently the best option that was put forward for them to evaluate at this time to put the police department in. They have also gone around to each of our departments to do an evaluation on needs for square footage, future needs, and things like that. That includes buildings and grounds, water and sewer, highway, and of course the police department. They have also completed the highway garage building condition survey, which I think has been submitted around to almost everybody. I think, as far as I can tell, did you get a copy of that, Joyce?
I
You
don't think
confused? No?
I don't
Did
think
you get a copy of that? You must have, you were on the
so. How
committee.
is it circulated?
I don't know, we can check and see. If it has gone out to the rest of the town board, we can certainly see that it does.
I don't think that
You
I.
didn't get a copy of it? All right,
All
we'll get that out then. That's my mistake and oversight of my part, so I'll send that out. And then now the committee has agreed, and we have told AES to continue on with their original proposal that they submitted last year to come up with some estimated costs to repair the highway department based on their findings, and to compare those to building a new similar building to meet the needs, so we would be able to compare those costs. So we, at least when we're talking about it, we're talking in some good information. They are also completing a site plan, which since this meeting, we have received a very preliminary copy of a site plan for them to include the highway department, the police department, and also a building large enough to house the water and sewer department and the really, as a grounds department, does need some work. I haven't submitted it to anybody yet because they still have some work to do. It's a very preliminary site plan, but they are working on it. I'm hoping that we'll have something we can discuss at our next committee meeting, which is scheduled for the 24th of October.
All right, thanks. Public safety?
Okay, what we're talking before we get on the highway. Tanya, you said tonight I should bring up a resolution to put out to bids for the furnace.
I said if you talk to him about what you're going to do, I mean.
Well, we don't know. I mean, you gotta have a spec sheet, you know, we gotta have specs before we can put it out.
Certainly have to have it available once the bid hits, and once the RFP hits the street, so that they can come in and get it.
Well, I will have, but I didn't know if we should address that tonight or.
We can. And you want to?
I mean, can we do it, make a resolution to put it out for our, for.
At least put it out.
First.
Yeah, you can, because it doesn't say when she's gonna put it out.
Pending specs.
Yeah, you can
Say
just pass a
something.
resolution.
Right, so I'm just saying we'll cut a month out of the
Yep.
process here.
And then you just have to work with.
Okay, so I'll make a resolution that we, put out for bid for new furnaces at the highway garage as soon as we get the specs.
Okay, I'll second
That-
that. Any discussion?
I'm just wondering why, if we're still not sure what's happening, can the present furnace be repaired before you go into that kind of expense?
No, well, it's between the chicken and the egg, like we're gonna insulate it and make it energy efficient first. But we need to have the wall fixed, and there's nothing wrong with that garage. I've had 3 engineers in there in the past 8 years checking it, and they said it was definitely rehabbable, no question. I mean, the aesthetics of it, and is bad, I mean, the outside and stuff, but I mean, the integrity of the steel and everything else is fine, so we're gonna try to get it fixed up.
I guess my concern with any of that is that at some point in time, all the things that you just mentioned have to be done, right? We know that the furnace has got to be redone, the walls have got to be redone, it's got to be re-insulated, and so there's a total cost to that. Whether it's spent at one time or piecemealed out over a period of time, there's a total cost to that. And what we're trying to get done at the committee level right now is to come up with what that total cost is. Even if we phase it in over a period of time, we kind of need to know that as opposed to just piecemealing this going forward, so that there is a comprehensive plan on what is the best course of action to go forward. I think
I don't know what the superintendent, the superintendent highways is gonna change, but right now Sal is happy with the square footage of that building. And it's definitely, anybody in this room would know that a new building is gonna cost double what that building is.
well, we will have that answer.
We need that information.
We will have that answer, and that's what we're working towards, so we know exactly what we're talking about without having to.
But right now, the fuel is costing a fortune for him to do it, so we figured, regardless of what we do with that building, it's gonna have furnaces.
What's the heating situation there now? I mean, is it?
Oh, it's 2 old furnaces, and they've been using the used oil, and,
Oh, that's right.
you know, and it's just, it's bad. Because Sal and I were up looking at it today, we were thinking of maybe getting some felt from the mill, because we need, you don't need to heat the whole thing. If we don't get those furnaces, put some dryer felt or some,
To partition.
whatever they call it down, dryer felt or whatever, to hang it, so that, because those trucks don't need to be,
Right.
And just heat the area that needed until we come up with a solution to which way we're gonna go.
Probably the lowest cost.
But Sal and I, like we said, what's first the chicken and the egg? I mean, do you insulate and make it energy efficient first and put the furnaces in? And he said, what he's paying for fuel. Because you can turn the furnaces down at night,
Yeah.
you know.
Well, there's a resolution on the floor with a first and a second, just because we get the bids doesn't mean we have to act on the bids if we see the prices.
Right, I'd like to see that will help AES or whatever they're doing. I mean, and if we get, I've got 3 or 4 people going up to give us the prices on it. So that'll give us an insight as to what it's gonna be, because it's gonna be the same whether they do it here or whether they do it for a new building. I'll do AES's work for them.
Any other discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
So carried. We'll wait till we get back.
As soon as I get them, I'll send it to everybody or whatever,
Okay.
I think. Okay, we want public safety now. We don't even have to go over the first part. Julie Putnam was here about, we just discussed the parking on the high school, which we're a little going at yet. And Supervisor Wright stated Amherst Avenue, we already discussed that. Joyce stated that the parking on sidewalks on Amherst. Is there anything you want to add to that, Joyce? Oh. And the monthly report on the police, I'll read in a minute. Rhiannon Peters went over that, I'll read that. Joyce states that the property on 22 is looking like a mess again. Dave will talk to the owner, and he did. He went down and talked to him.
That's pretty bad.
So. And Ross Kelly asked about the speed limit change on the windshield, and I told him that as far as I knew, there was nothing being done on it yet. Nothing, no.
Well, they're probably reviewing it, we haven't heard anything yet.
Yeah. Okay, the police report was approximately calls to service 322, incident reports 33, arrests 29, uniform traffic tickets 66, DWIs nothing, accidents investigated 6. Speed trailer is currently on Warner Hill Road again. 925 arrested was Tabitha Turner for burglary 3rd and petty larceny. Turner illegally entered the corner market early Sunday morning by breaking an exterior window and stole property. A search warrant was executed on a resident. Turner is to appear in Ticonderoga, town court on 9/13. Members of the Ticonderoga Police Department traveled to Hudson Falls and arrested Derek J. Farron. Farron was charged with sex abuse first and endangerment of the welfare of the child. These charges stem from a complaint that Farron had sexually contact with an 8-year-old. 9/8/22 arrested was Skylar Torrey for criminal possession of a controlled substance 7th and aggravated unlicensed operator 1st. Torrey was found in possession of suspected heroin as a result of a patrol interview behind the old Lowe's building. 9/6 arrested was Brandon Golf for criminal possession of a controlled substance 7th and petty larceny. Charges stem from a shoplifting complaint from Walmart. Upon arrest, Golf was found to be in possession of a loaded syringe containing Suboxone. 9/22/22 arrested Jenny L. Barney for criminal possession of controlled substance 7th. Barney was found in possession of heroin after a traffic stop on Champlain Avenue. The building codes, they wrote 9 permits. Safety inspections 1. Repairs, order to remedy was 1. No training, that was it.
All right, we'll move on to Public Works. Minutes from the September 27th meeting are attached. The discussions on the order at the Black Point Pump Station, for example. AES is going to have some additional information regarding that for the next committee meeting. AES also briefed the committee on its latest work that's been conducted on our water wastewater department, identifying which properties are likely to be the billing of 12 Treadway Street, Nikki Taylor, to 1 EDU water and 1 EDU sewer, as this property is now a single-family dwelling. Need a motion?
I'll move it.
Do you wanna wait till Dave comes back?
I can.
It wasn't a multi.
It was a duplex.
Those boots. Okay, I have a resolution to change the billing of 1-2 Treadway Street, Nikki Taylor, to 1 EDU water and 1 EDU sewer, as this property is now a single-family dwelling. I think
I moved it.
voted.
Second.
And Joyce seconds. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Carried. A resolution to change the billing of 25 Montcalm Street, Brittany Holt, to 3 EDU water and 3 EDU sewer, as the property is now listed as a 3-family apartment building.
I'm trying to figure out what that is.
I don't know, but
It's the Roxy's building. The Roxy's next door to the co-op.
20, that's
Oh.
25 months.
No?
No, it's up across from Stewart's, it's Crossman's
Oh,
place.
right. No, I was thinking
Oh.
of
Dick
Reed's.
Crossman's place.
Oh,
and
the
Percy
Beauty
Angeles
shop,
Salon.
or the beauty shop.
Yeah.
That's a very nice property, by the way.
yeah. Need a motion?
I'm on.
Second. Go ahead, Tom.
Thanks.
Tomty?
All in favor?
Aye.
Carried. And a resolution to change the billing of 133 Montcalm Street, Joseph Burdette, to 3 EDU water, 3 EDU sewer. Building is now listed as an apartment and a restaurant for the assessor's tax roll. Need a motion?
I'll move it.
Second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
So carried.
So businesses get 2 EDUs, is that how it works?
I believe that is the case. One other thing I did want to mention, while we're in this area, we have resident Mario Piemonte, lives on 2147 New York 74. He wants to be disconnected. Apparently, he had asked to be disconnected years ago. I think it was during the period of time,
Disconnected from what?
water.
Oh,
He's up in Shelton.
oh,
I think it was during the time when the town was asking for who wanted to opt out.
oh,
And the process involved, if that was the case, everyone who wanted to opt out, you had to redraw the boundary lines, do another map planning report, and do another public hearing. It was some time. I don't know if he got dropped during that process, but he's never been disconnected. He's continuing to get bills for water. I explained to him, you're going to because you're not disconnected. But that's what he wants. He came to see me, he came to see Sherry, talk about it. I don't know that there's anything that, I think we've disconnected others from gooseneck, I don't know.
He actually has a well.
Yes, he's got a water source now, yeah,
Yeah.
he has a water source.
I don't know that we've actually removed anybody from the map report at this point.
Not since.
No,
That
no.
was, I think, where the confusion was, is he put his letter in
Yeah.
after the map plan report was done, so
Right.
it was kind of like put on hold.
He got put on.
Right, yeah, because there wasn't any opt-out, I think was the wrong.
That was the
word
wrong
to use.
terminology.
Wrong terminology. We never said that you would be opted out if you requested to. If you could make the request, and it would be up to the town board to make a
Right.
decision.
So all he
And-
wants,
and
all he
he-
wants now is just to get disconnected because he's got his own water source.
you know, I was running across that the other day, I think there was
There were several.
9 people, 9 or 10 people that requested to be opted out. What, about that at one time? It was Dave Burrows.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there was a few letters where people
I
that said
think
they
there
didn't
were
want to
nine
participate.
or 10 of them.
But their confusion was is that they said they wanted to not be in the district. They didn't say to cut off our water
Okay,
account.
yeah.
This letter from this man did say, I want to be disconnected, because he has a source.
I can get back with Sherry, and we can have a resolution for the next meeting
Cut them out.
to have you disconnected.
Go for the scissors.
Well, I think, does that have to go to, does Derek have to go out there and physically disconnect him,
what he
right,
said,
at some
yeah.
point? As opposed to just turning off the valve, right? He's got to go in and make sure he's
Yeah.
disconnected either
He's
inside
already
or
turned off his
outside.
own valve, but Derek hasn't disconnected.
Got it completely disconnected, right?
Well, you have to turn off the valve on the main, right?
On the main.
On the main,
It's
and
a curve.
physically disconnected, from my understanding,
Yeah,
right?
that's what I
It's
understand.
got to be cut.
It's not a curb, it's not a curb stop, it's a.
Right. There's not a curb stop on the main, no.
Right.
You gotta dig that up.
But I think, Matt, it can't just be curb stop off. It actually has to be physically disconnected.
Right
On
on
the
the
main.
main.
That's
Yeah.
what I
You have
understand.
to dig down to the main and
Turn that one off and then take that section off.
And then take a section out, right?
Yeah.
Right. So I think once that's done, then, I mean, that's,
We have to do this, we have to do. We gotta
does it
get-
need a resolution to have Derek go do that?
You to terminate a service contract.
Yeah, you're having resolution, simple resolution of the board to terminate the service contract, and, yeah, you could instruct
Once that's done.
Derek to go terminate the line.
Okay.
Whatever we do, we're gonna have to do it again, so let's make it right the first time.
Yeah, let's have some standard language so we can do this over and over again without having to rewrite it.
All right,
That would make sense.
maybe our trusty legal,
Do you want to do that next time, or not?
we can do it now. Go ahead and write language.
So we should just have his tax map number and his address.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And then the resolution will say to disconnect the property located at whatever, tax map number, whatever.
I can get with you, Matt, and maybe we can just template language.
Yeah.
that would be the same term, same wording every, it's just different tax numbers and different.
For everyone.
Yes,
else.
yeah, exactly. You get the template, and you just insert
Yeah.
the parcel.
But then we got the paperwork to follow, and the system that we use.
So, Matt, in doing this, we take this one person off, and then we take maybe number 2 off, number 3 off. That obviously means that the map planning report that's presently submitted is
Well, you jump-
done, right? I mean, it's
Yeah.
done anyways, but,
We'll talk about it later when we get to my report, but we did get a modification, a draft modification from Department of Justice, and I'm working through that right now. And that's part of it, those numbers are gonna be changing. Right now, there's 109, and now there's 108. And, you know, I guess the hesitancy was, a year or so ago, there was a hesitancy, even on my part, to allow anybody off that thing, because we didn't know where it was gonna go.
Right.
Now it's pretty clear, there's not going to be one big district,
right.
or even 2 large districts. There's gonna be a bunch of private solutions and maybe 1 or 2 small municipal solutions, if we have to do it. So that whole perspective has changed in 1 year's time, so when people are gonna come in and terminate, they gotta be off by 25 anyway. There was a gentleman at the Public Works last month that was asking about drilling his own well.
Yeah.
Have at it, submit a letter to the town or something to say, I'm out. This gentleman, I think it was an email or a call or something. And the town working adopt the resolutions that are terminating these contracts.
Okay.
But yeah, I can certainly come up with that.
So at that point, when he drills his own well, can he do just like this guy did?
Yeah.
They shut, cut me on.
Yeah, but to the whole point, you are somewhat committing yourself now to a course of action, which is not gonna have these districts. Because to the people's concern, it is a water district. If the water line goes in front of your property, the town board can include you in a water district. That is true. People want to guarantee that they're not going to be in a water district. There just is no guarantee, no such guarantee.
Same thing with sewer,
A
right?
future town board could say, we're doing the same thing.
I believe the only thing we know right now is there's not going to be this huge global district
Right.
like the project that we had originally planned. That's the
Exactly.
only thing I can say with certainty.
Right. Absent. That's some massive bag of money.
Unless, all the gold in the world happens to fall in Ticonderoga at some point.
Right.
But even that, without the individuals petitioning to pay that amount was one thing I wanted to mention.
Let's talk after.
So let's go to youth.
Okay, we had a good meeting last night, actually, and I do want to say that the after-school program appears to be growing. The numbers seem to be increasing every week. I didn't bring the right paper with me to tell you the numbers, but he's having about 30 kids.
Got 52 registered.
Yeah.
Most he's had is 37, so
Thank you. Thank you for the memory.
I gotta do something as coach here.
Yeah. Would you like to take minutes? No. Anyways, the biggest topic of discussion was taking the kids outside to play and ensuring that those kids are going to be safe while they're outside. And I think Sean is right in wanting to get the kids outside because they've been inside all day long, and allowing them to get outside and run off some of that energy makes it much better for everybody concerned. And the kids seem to be happy with the program. I can tell that they really like Sean, and I think that's important. So the big issue is how do we get those kids outside and keep them safe, since we have a driveway that goes from Champlain Avenue to Amherst. It is one-way direction from Champlain to Amherst, and still have the kids outside playing and not have to worry about cars coming through. So it was a recommendation of the committee that we actually close off a section of that road, starting with on the Champlain side where the chain link fence there's a gate which is never closed. Starting there, all the way to Amherst Avenue will be blocked to traffic from 3 o'clock until 5:30 in the afternoon, allowing him a certain period of time to take the kids outside.
Is that an actual public road?
No,
No, it's
It's
not.
not, right? I mean, it's just a private, wasn't
it's a driveway,
driveway, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
And it was made one way a couple years ago because there isn't enough room for two-way traffic anyways. And it was a real problem when the kids were getting out of the program, getting into cars. It was dangerous is what it was. And so that's when it was changed from one way from the gate up to the top, the rear entrance of the armory. So the committee is recommending we put up sawhorses at where the gate exists near Champlain Avenue, and also down at Amherst Avenue, and blocking it to traffic. And those would be put up by Sean and the attendants and taken down when it's appropriate, at the appropriate time.
Where do they play when they go outside on blacktop?
They don't do the same stuff all the time. I have to tell you, I stopped in that program a week or so ago, and I'm coming back to my car, and the kids fortunately the kids weren't out. Somebody came tearing through there, and they must have been going about 40 miles an hour, and I had to jump out of the way. So, I mean, that kind of stuff is going on there. So if we block it to
I mean,
traffic,
it's not a playground, it's a blacktop driveway. Where do they play when they go outside?
They usually go on the side lawn area, or they go where the handicap accessible canopy thing is. They try to stay in that area. They aren't right in the driveway.
Well,
There's
they
not
hardly
much-
ever
there's not
go.
much room there,
they
really.
do some
But-
chalk stuff there.
Well, it's on the slant
Yeah,
going down towards the road.
Yeah.
And I don't know if he's gonna propose something to the committee about being in the road now that he's closing it down, but I don't think we want them in the road per
Yeah.
se.
But he usually has 2 different activities going on, with 3
The
different.
kids are gonna be walking the road because you gotta get them
One
out.
It's a private driveway, I think they can do whatever they want to do, right?
I think so.
I mean, I don't know that the town board needs to have a resolution or anything.
Well, I think
to do
we
that.
need to be aware because we're going to, some of the parents arrive early to pick up their kids, but they're not going to be able to drive right in. If it's before 5:30, they're going to have to park out on the street and walk in and pick up their kids.
The one thing I recommended that the committee do is just have some simple safety plan that they could put before the board. In case something ever happened to a child, somebody couldn't come back and say, well, you guys didn't have any plan for this? You just let the kids run around in an open driveway for liability purposes.
But
Yeah.
to the south side, I marked out, Sal's in a blacktop area for the basketball.
Yeah, but they don't.
You know, but I mean, if you had a fenced area, that would be the best place for them kids to play, is over there.
Yes, it
I
would
mean,
be.
if you had a fence where they could not get into the driveway, you know, some kind of a, you know what I'm talking
The
about?
trouble is that when they walk out of the building, how do they not walk in the driveway?
No, I mean, once they get into the play area,
Right.
if they came in out to double doors with the gym,
Oh, at the top.
you know,
Well, he's,
Oh, they don't come out that door.
they don't come out that way, they come out the door,
You use the basement door.
basement
that's the
door.
trouble.
The side door.
Where the seniors come in and go, right?
Yes.
Right.
Sean had a quote-unquote process or plan that he was using to, watch for traffic,
Yeah.
but it wasn't anything official and it's
yeah,
not written down, so.
Yeah, we need to make it official, right?
yeah.
I mean, I don't see where the big deal for closing that driveway.
No.
It'd be
No.
30,
No.
5:30.
It's not a road, they don't.
But it should definitely be closed.
Yeah, definitely
Now,
close.
I mean,
Right.
so that nobody can get through there, because if one car squeaks by,
A barrier or something.
you're gonna,
If one car hits one kid,
Yeah.
we're gonna be talking a whole different deal.
I did talk to Sal today, and he said that he has extra barricades that he will bring up there and drop off, because we would like to get this going on Monday, if possible, if everybody agrees that we can close that down. And then he can shuttle the kids to the side lawn, he can shuttle them to the,
wherever, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good,
Yeah, and they're not all doing the same thing, that's part of it, so because kids don't always want to do the same thing either.
What age group are these kids?
He's got from kindergarten up to fifth grade, so that's a big range,
Yeah, that's it.
yeah,
It's like herding puppies.
yeah.
I'd still like to see Sean put something down on paper.
We need to have something.
That's the safety plan, written safety
Yeah,
plan.
something simple.
I think
He
you
says, I'm putting a barrier here, I'm putting a barrier here, there are people watching, whatever, just something written down.
Okay.
but can we actually pass a resolution tonight approving the closing down of
Yes.
the driveway to the armory for this purpose,
3 to 5:30,
3 to 5:30?
and that's
On
not
nice,
saying,
on nice days.
on night. Well, I don't think we,
Just leave it 3 to 5.
Yeah.
3 to 5:30.
Yeah, well, no, that,
It is
he's telling the
discretion.
parents about, but yes, this is what the resolution, yeah,
Your nice days, not one of my nice days.
that's right. I
We
like it
definitely said
cold.
nice day.
Yeah.
Depends if you're outside working or not.
All right, so did everyone hear the resolution that Tanya stated?
No.
Approving the closing of the Armory driveway from Amherst Avenue to the gate location on Champlain side from 3 to 5:30 during the after-school program.
Move it.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So carried.
All right, good. Now let's get with Sean.
Basketball court.
But if we can get that basketball thing, that would be great.
I asked Sally again today if he could maybe.
Did you guys say
Did you have anything else?
Well,
The kids love doing
Yeah.
that.
Dave, where do we stand on the pad for that basketball?
I don't know.
Where do we stand on the pad for the basketball?
Sal, if he does any more blacktop, he's gonna try to do it.
Is he gonna use blacktop, is that what he was gonna use?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Could we
But
just,
it's gotta be dug out.
could we dig out a spot and use those tailings and compact that,
I don't know, the basketball would bounce sideways and it would have to be a uniform surface.
Yeah. Once you roll it down, I think it'd be pretty,
Yeah,
pretty, I mean, I got it in my driveway, it's pretty small.
it's not that big an area, it's
I
not
don't
gonna take
think
that much blacktop,
No,
but, and I just thought we'd dig it down to 6 inches, put some item for it, and then,
yeah, if we could just do that, he put his tailings in.
well, I asked him today, they took him up the other day and showed it to him, and he said that if he could, he would work it in. So, I'll ask him again tomorrow.
I think something's probably
If
take
I could-
priority over
It would help him if we could.
If I could legally do it, I can go up and dig it out.
Yeah, it's
Can
not,
I legally do it?
it's only 16 by 20.
You're a volunteer.
Hmm?
I don't know why not.
We'll get your baseball cap that says volunteer.
Well, I was gonna dig down here for the deal, they had to almost crucify me when they were gonna do that farmer's market thing down there.
Festival Hill
Hey.
site.
Remember they were gonna put a big building up down there?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Jim Beatty.
and because
Jim
of
Beatty's
the
project.
concrete and the old mill,
Oh, that's
they
good.
wanted to do test holes, so I went over.
Well, that's because you were
Well, they were gonna hang me.
digging in areas that aren't supposed to be dug in.
No, we got the permission to dig it.
Yeah.
Guy, whoever was overseeing it.
Yeah, Jim Beatty, that's Jim Beatty. And then Peter Real was there too.
I don't see why you have any problem with the armory, we own the property.
Yeah, I think.
It's a good scenario. It's a
So
good
before we
scenario.
go any farther, is that?
We need to buy a cap that says volunteer today.
Yeah, just get it volunteer.
I guess I don't remember what you're talking about, the other one.
It was something that Jim Beatty, the
It's just-
Festival Guild wanted to put in.
Well, no, I remember that, but I don't remember.
Take it out.
He was down.
About 16 by 20 or
I was there
something.
too.
Yeah.
If it's legal, I don't have a problem with it.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can volunteer, yep, you can volunteer.
Good Samaritan, actually.
I'll send Shirley up tomorrow.
You can volunteer, you should be able to volunteer.
Thanks.
Just don't get near him, he doesn't like to be bothered anymore.
Just don't put it down 8 foot deep and then discard it.
Anything else on,
No.
all right, seniors?
Seniors had their regularly scheduled meeting on September 28th at 1 o'clock. I was unable to attend at that time, but did get their minutes. They did go over their financial report. The balance in their account presently is $12,562.46. So they're doing fairly well at this point for that. They did have a CPR class that was changed. They've taken it now. It was October 6th from 5 to 7 p.m.
It was last night. It was last night.
They changed it then, apparently.
Yeah, 4 times they changed it.
Yeah, okay, well, very hard for me to keep up with these seniors. They did have, Renee Kennedy came in with Tide EMS and did a presentation for them on what Tide EMS is doing throughout the community. They did discuss that they were looking to see if there should be an AED on the second floor of the armory.
It's already up there. I put it up there yesterday.
It went up, okay. Where did that, somebody had as a spare?
No, same one, we moved it up because they play pickleball upstairs and they're all elderly, like some of us people. And they said.
Heck, you're looking this way.
I'm looking at back. They said if anybody was gonna have a cardiac problem, it was gonna be when they were playing pickleball.
Okay.
So,
All right, well, because they had a cost
That's the
in
only
here, they
place
said
they
it
can have
cost
one.
like roughly
Did you move the
$1,000.
whole case and everything?
The one was moved. Okay.
there's something wrong with you.
Did you move the whole case?
The rest of this was just their standard meeting activity reports, which is all come and gone already. There is a AARP safety driver's course. That course is going to be held on Tuesday, October 25th from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. The cost is $25 for AARP members and $30 for non-members. So if anybody wants to go take a driver safety course and use that to reduce their car insurance, potentially, you can submit that and be done. And so that's on the 25th from 9 to 4 p.m.
How many seniors in that town? There was 12 of them at that CPR course last time.
Yeah, total number of seniors you registered in the
In that.
group, I want to say it's 50 or 60, they said.
Oh, that many? Oh.
They don't all come.
Oh,
Yeah,
well, there was 12 of them at that. We
yeah,
had a full thing last
yeah.
time.
Yeah, I think there's 50 or 60 people. I mean, you know, I'm a member, you're not a member, Dave? You didn't pay up for $10?
I'm not old enough.
They used to say
I know.
that.
Yeah, no, I think there's 50, 60
Yeah.
members, something like that. you
I
know.
was surprised there was 12 people taking that course online.
They do,
Good.
None of them might want to do CPR on me, but,
That's what was going on over there last night.
yeah.
All right, moving on, health insurance. The insurance rates were provided with the unions and the rates have been factored into the budget. Just for information, Gold 6 is up 8.9%, Gold 17 plan is up 9%, Platinum 2 is up 10.7%, and Bronze 4 is up 7.7%, so everything is up. Yeah.
Are we talking about cutting down the options?
Still are, it's in negotiations right now. Speaking of negotiations, first labor relation discussions occurred yesterday, 10/12, with both CSEA units. We'll have another round of meetings with CSEA on the 26th, and the first discussion with the police union will be on the 19th. Things are going well. I think the issues where we thought would be issues would be healthcare and wages, and that's what we're seeing. We'll get through it. Okay, cable. I know you're all anxious to know what the new cable things are. Under serve notice, on or around October 28th, Spectrum Northeast LLC will add the Word Network, high definition channel 67, 462. Despite our best efforts, due to rising programming fees charged by broadcast TV stations, we carry the broadcast TV surcharge price for Spectrum Stream TV and Spectrum TV Choice customers will increase by $4.01 a month effective November 1st. Those who are paying a promotional price for their Spectrum TV, the regular price does not take effect until the end of the promotional period. Spectrum Northeast LLC is making its customers aware that the MGM Movie Network notified us it will discontinue programming MGM Movie Network on or around October 31st, 2022. Accordingly, Spectrum will cease carriage of MGM Movie Network on channel 633. Okay. Wait for Tom to come back. Because we have a whole list. We have to go do it now.
Break down, everyone need a break now.
Take your 5-minute break.
It's gonna be a long financial.
Did you see your lock on your bathroom?
Yeah, that's nice.
Oh, you got that?
You been in the ladies' room, Dave?
Yeah. I went in to make sure he did it.
Yes, I
He's
saw
good,
that
right?
today.
He's like, oh, he did it. It's like
He
that.
came right over and looked at it, oh, this is a
Yeah.
I still would like this, a door. Though,
For what?
I would like a door.
Yeah, why? You mean for me to be
So we can run.
Yeah. I mentioned that
Another-
today when we were talking about where we're
Good
gonna put the
point.
wiring and everything, I told them, don't put anything across that because we're gonna be opening it up. So
Are we? I think we should.
Would you want an actual door or just a passageway? I mean, you want to just cut it down and leave
Well, it's
it?
just a piece of plywood.
yeah, I have no.
No, I don't mean that. I mean, you want to leave it open completely
There.
or a door?
You might want a door in case we have discussions.
Yeah, because it's not so pretty on the other side.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but when we have our executive sessions, we'll want to shut the door. So it probably should be a heavier door.
It looks like at one time something was,
They did have glass panels there.
oh yeah?
Like they were here and like they were, I don't know where they ever went though. I have the ones that go to where the library
I
thing.
think we had to put a ladder to go out this window.
We could do that too, I thought.
Isn't there a door down there?
Yeah,
At the
the,
very end.
yes. Yeah.
That's where I'm
Boy,
going.
you're in no man's land here, I'll tell you.
That's where I'm going. Get out of my way.
It's a really heavy bulkhead, but you can get out there.
Well, if you're determined.
Yes, you can. Never.
Yeah, it would be just like ducks in a chute down here. Did anybody ever?
These desks are big enough that we can flip them out there, okay?
Yeah.
We need to put the armor
Yeah,
stuff
I'm
on
not, I'm
them.
not quite sure what size round that'll stop.
We should.
Well, that's when we need to get an armor,
More plating.
thing on the underside, they will never know.
Well, we
Now that I'm saying it on camera, they will.
should check.
Yeah, you blew our whole security plan out.
You may not be able to flip that table after you're done.
I know. Oh, goodness.
Connie, do those used to be French doors there to also?
Those?
So they're probably the same size. Could we take the ones, the other set and put them there?
Do those windows open? I mean, would we have to smash one of them to
They
get out?
may probably,
They used to.
you would be able to crawl up there, Dave. It's a little short for you to crawl up there.
They
I
probably
figured
have-
Dave would just boost us all up and
Yeah,
stay here.
yeah.
I figured we could get on Joyce's shoulder.
Yeah. Boy, well, that helps the cards.
He's the biggest one here. He could chuck us all out.
Let's continue on financial resolutions. Resolution authorizing the creation of a new account, A6989-469 for economic development. This is for ARPA disbursements, to track the ARPA disbursement fund usage. I'll move that.
Second?
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Carried. Next one's a long one, so buckle up.
Ooh.
Resolution authorizing the following budget transfers. These are fund under budgeted general accounts for contingency. The balance after contingency balance after the transfer is going to be $59,276.90. I will not read all of these amounts, but that's from buildings, heating oil, building water, building sewer, central communications, virtual meetings, central communications surveillance subscription, police and constable propane, police and constable motor fuel, safety inspection legal fees, programs for the aging motor fuel, economic development professional contract grants, library, HSA, joint planning, town attorney, refuse and garbage holiday pay, tipping fees, and HSA. Next section is from contingency, in the amount of $616.18, and that is to fund under budget and highway accounts from the contingency. The balance will be after the transfer $8,419.50. You can see the three items, two items there. Next section is to fund under budgeted sewer accounts from contingency. The balance after that transfer is going to be $9,662.39, and that is going to sewer office supplies, sewer safety equipment and supplies, sewer propane for District 7, sewer propane for District 9, and sewer electric. Those amounts. Next section is to transfer funds to cover under budgeted sewer accounts. Total of $500 for waste treatment plant operator, to sewage treatment incentive, $5,233.50 from education and training to professional contract medical lab testing, $6,370.26 from sewer engineering to heating oil, District 5, $11,944.42 from sewer production system materials into sewer motor fuel, sewer treatment disposal contractual, and sewer treatment disposal contractual. That's for District 7 and District 8 respectively. And then fund under budgeted water accounts from contingency. Balance after transfer is going to be $7,898.83. We're taking $483.94 out of contingency into water safety equipment and supplies, source of supply power and pumping water, and life insurance. And then to transfer funds to cover under budgeted water accounts in the amount of $810 from pager for Brian Benito to pager for Wright. Total of $2,018.24 from water treatment plant overtime into water overtime and water longevity. $5,588.85 coming from water miscellaneous filtration plant into water heating oil, District 6, and water motor oil, District 6. And I need a motion.
I'll move it.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Carried. All right. This is our song. A resolution authorizing the following budget adjustments. First section here is funding the accounts by general fund balance to cover increased costs. $1,080 from professional contractual payroll services, $1,634.00 for financial general employees HSA, $781.28 airport credit card fees, $4,138.49 police medical insurance. I will not read all these, I'll just read garbage, dyed diesel and gas, sidewalk construction and replacement, airport fuel and filters, economic development ARPA disbursements, that was $8,000 in Chilson, and community beautification truck, that was about $60,274.99. And the last section of this resolution is funding accounts by highway fund balance to cover increased costs, and that is a total of $8,027 for general highway motor fuel oil, $2,250 for highway equipment rental, and $9,819.59 for highway employee medical insurance. And I need a motion because I can't talk anymore.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
So carried. A resolution authorizing the following interfund transfer. First section here is to transfer funds from the general to the Eagle Lake Water Project in the amount of $112.35. The last section here is to transfer funds from sewer to Black Point HVAC project, and that is $4,928.50. And I will move that.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
So carried. A resolution authorizing the following interfund loans. First section here, to transfer funds from highway to Veterans Road Culvert Bridge project until funding is received, and that is the amount of $271,091.96 in utility. Next section here is to transfer funds from the central water to the lead service line replacement until funds are received. That is in the amount of $4,249.25. Next section is to transfer funds from general airport apron project until funding is received, and that is in the amount of $3,551.50. Next section is to transfer funds from general to airport pavement project until funding is received in the amount of $50,536.00. And the final group is funding account by sewer, SSO5, fund balance project until funding is received. That is in the amount of $7,364.24. In a motion.
Move it.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So carried. I have a resolution here to advertise for the annual town field bid.
I'll move it.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
So carried. A resolution authorizing the supervisor to enter into an agreement with North Country Life Flight for the purpose of operating the medical component of the medevac program, which will serve its residents and visitors, and paying an amount not to exceed $1,500, which represents the town's share for 2023. I will move that.
Second.
Discussion?
Didn't we talk about this and whether or not we were gonna have them come in and discuss about if they're making a profit or am I getting confused with somebody else?
I was thinking the same thing, yeah.
I don't remember.
No.
You did talk about it.
We did talk about it at budget time, that this was a dollar amount that we thought that if they're making a profit, that we don't need to be funding it, or am I getting them confused with somebody else?
Yeah.
Because
Because this was a startup thing? Is that-
Yeah, it was a startup deal, and then now that they're kind of
Yeah.
operating and think that they're actually making.
No, this is
No?
the state, North Country Life Flight is the state police one that used to get called all the time before LifeNet came
Oh,
in.
Okay.
confusing.
You
like
wanted to
that
have the
for-
conversation to see if they,
With like that.
what kind of business is going on now.
Yeah.
I mean, the town, all the towns in the county have always supported the North Country Life Flight.
Okay.
Okay.
But that was your question, was to see
Yeah.
how much use, now that we have LifeNet here, who charges, yeah.
Okay, all right.
We still use it,
Yeah, yes, we do,
Yeah.
yes, we do.
we still use both of them.
Do their backup, aren't
Yeah.
Okay, that's good, good question. All in favor?
Aye.
So carried. A resolution authorizing the supervisor to sign the payment in lieu of taxes solar agreement between the town of Ticonderoga and Pivot Solar New York 5 LLC for a 5-megawatt project by Pivot Solar on a 183-acre parcel along New York State Route 9, and Old Chilson Road, owned by Mako International, Bruce Crampton.
I'll move it.
I'll second it. I don't even, wasn't there a question about that site? It must be, it was resolved.
As far as I
They're all
know,
approved.
yeah,
Oh, that's
all been approved, yeah.
Okay, because there's something about the sideline or something.
The only question I have is this is, once we do the resolution, is this now go then to,
IDA.
IDA?
They've
And they,
Yes,
manage-
I signed the agreement with IDA, they handle all the.
they handle it all after the fact, but it's up to the town to do the resolution, and then they kind of take it over from
Correct.
that point.
And if you're ever interested in what those payments are for the years.
Yeah, we've seen those, but yeah, okay, I just couldn't remember how the.
Yeah, luckily IDA handles these things.
Okay.
Yes, thank goodness.
Yeah, no kidding. Further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
So carried. And the other one, similar to this, a resolution authorizing the supervisor to sign the payment in lieu of taxes solar agreement between the town of Ticonderoga and Pivot Solar New York 6 LLC for a 2.5-megawatt project at Pivot Solar on a 35-acre parcel along Shore Airport Road, Delano Road, owned by Rigoberto and Gail Feliciano. I'll move that.
Second.
Discussion on that. All in favor?
Aye.
carried. Okay, we need to have a number of public hearings next month. A resolution to set a public hearing for the town of Ticonderoga's proposed 2023 budget for November 10, 2022 at 6 p.m.
I'll move it.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Carried. Resolution to set a public hearing for the proposed 2023 sewer rate increase and water rate increase for November 10, 2022 at 6 p.m.
I'll move it.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Carried. Resolution to set a public hearing regarding Pride of Ticonderoga's application to the New York State Community Development Block Grant Program on behalf of the town of Ticonderoga for November 10, 2022 at 6 p.m.
I'll move it.
Second.
Discussion on that? And just say this is something that Pride is doing, they just need a municipal sponsor. All in favor?
Aye.
So carried. Resolution to schedule a public hearing regarding the proposed adoption of a local law which provides for the administration and enforcement of the New York State Uniform Fire Prevention and Building Code, the Uniform Code, and the State Energy Conservation Construction Code, the Energy Code, in the town of Ticonderoga on November 10, 2022 at 6 p.m. Motion.
What is this?
What is it?
Yeah.
What is it?
Good to see you read the report.
That was a trick.
Trick. Earlier this year, New York State updated the laws with the Fire Prevention and Building Code, which required all municipalities that enforce it to update their local law. So since then, we've worked through it. I sent it to Dave. He had some comments back. We made some changes, and this is what you have. So you're going to repeal the current one you have and adopt a new one.
That's what we'll do next month.
Well, by the state, part of the statement.
Yeah, it's got a lot of people, public
That's
especially.
already been on.
Shouldn't you repeal the existing one first?
No, you have to put the
There
first
is-
on the place.
Good debate.
We go through this all the time.
Yeah.
And then everyone has.
There's
a
no
different opinion
rule.
on what it has to do.
The reason I changed it,
We used to repeal it first and then adopt the new one, but
What does that mean? You don't have a law in between that 3
Yes.
seconds?
yes.
God forbid somebody comes along and challenges the law that you adopted or the one you repealed.
Yeah.
The
It makes
repeal
total
is
sense.
contingent on the adoption. So
Makes total sense.
there's no
Does that
right or
actually
wrong.
happen?
Are you being sarcastic?
Good
Does
question.
that actually happen?
Clear as mud.
Challenge law, sure.
Really?
All right, can I have a motion, please?
I'll move it.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So carried. A resolution to schedule a public hearing regarding the proposed repeal of local law 226, entitled "A Local Law Providing for the Administration and Enforcement of the New York State Uniform Fire Prevention and Building Code" on November 10, 2022. at
Yeah, I'll
6
move
p.m.
that.
And I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Carried. A resolution approving the paycheck service agreement for payroll processing at no additional cost. This agreement will initiate the town's flex account, get finance staff trained in the new system, as well as set up initial records. The board has previously approved the contract. I just haven't signed anything yet. I'll move that.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Carried. Resolution scheduling the following budget workshops with any other lawful business. First, October 21, 2022 at 10 a.m. Second, October 27, 2022 at 10 a.m. Not sure if we'll need the second one or not, but it's there. I'll move that.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Carried. Tony, do you have a couple there that you want to bring forward?
So I totally forgot to let Mark know that we have to have a public hearing on the Chilton Volunteer Fire Department contract that we should sign, that the public hearing should be before the beginning of the year.
Okay.
So that should be, I mean, it could be at your December, but if the budget's done and everything in November, then we should have it, we can have it then.
I don't have a problem doing it in November.
What's that?
I don't have a problem doing it in November, July. It should be quick. Okay.
You already kind of accepted the budget.
Yeah, we've accepted their budget. So let's go ahead and put that resolution on the floor. I'll move it.
Second.
Any other discussion on that? All in favor?
Aye. So that was to have that at the November board meeting?
Yeah.
Yeah.
the resolution to close down the roads on October, for the downtown trick or treating.
It's the 31st, isn't it?
Is it this year?
It's on Monday, isn't it?
31st Monday.
31st, it's on Monday.
Okay. And it's from Lake George Avenue all the way down here to the Heritage Museum. From 3 o'clock to 5 o'clock, we always do a resolution to close the road down.
Okay.
I'll move it.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Carried.
The great candy giveaway.
That was all I.
Yes, okay. Resolution to pay the abstract.
I'll move it.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
A resolution to accept the supervisor's report as submitted.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Tony, do you have anything else for us? What kind of do we need an executive session to discuss the client, these client meeting?
The DOJ? We don't have to. I don't really have a big report because I haven't gotten all the way through it yet. What I plan to do is, I do have a couple questions for DOJ, so I'll probably call them real quick. I did draft local law, just combining the no hunting with camping, basically a property use local law. So the town board has that, take a look at it. If there are also things that you want to add to that, I just included the hunting and camping, but if you've got other things, I don't know, whatever you might think of that needs to be dealt with on town property.
Campfires and things like that.
Right.
What about picnic?
Yeah, campfires in the city,
Somebody stop with their car and get on town property to have a picnic.
You're a big regular.
I mean, is that called camping?
No.
We offer a lot of picnic tables.
No, I meant, like, it's not Lord Hell, like, up where the problem area is.
There was no picnic.
And they said, I mean, you're having a picnic.
A 4-day picnic?
Well, they don't, they can go there for an afternoon. They
Even yoga bear doesn't.
So,
No, it's actually,
you know, throw
it's a
needles
creative
up.
idea, somebody can stay having a picnic.
Yeah.
I haven't read through it, the draft yet.
Yeah.
No, but I mean, sitting here with needles and jugs and stuff.
Oh, the drug picnic?
Yeah, well, like I said, they're having a picnic.
Picnic, yeah.
Which I'd do if I was,
Yeah, town on real property.
Oh. Okay.
Anyway, work in progress,
We'll review that.
come up with ideas.
Campfires, somebody just said that,
Yeah.
it definitely needs to be part of it too.
Did you have anything else, Tom? Public comment? Please limit your conversation to
Yes,
approximately
please.
2 minutes.
Speak now or?
Keith, do you have anything?
I just something recently, I just wanted to thank, I had to place a phone call to the local police for work, and they showed up and they did, as usual, an excellent job of removing somebody from the property that was not very well.
Oh, nice.
And they did it without any incident, without harm. It was an absolute perfect
You know,
removal.
you know who the officer
It was Officer Town and
Sounds like
Officer.
Yes.
Yeah, it was Officer Town and Officer, Budwick, thank you. It was Officer Town and Officer Budwick that showed up.
I don't think anybody's arguing with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's good, thank you for bringing that up, getting them their due recognition. Okay, if there's no other public comment, and there's nothing else to talk about, and Tanya wants to go home, so.
Football.
At 2019,
That's
we
every
are
night of the
adjourned.
week now.
No, it's not quite.
And what?
Jerry can find something